Hello, welcome back, and as always, I hope you're doing well. Right, what I thought I'd do today is answer a question that I was asked, ashamedly, quite a long time ago now, and it was by Shinobi6587, and he wrote to me and said, top 3 favourite books on Lee. Over the years, as we all know, there have been many books on Bruce Lee, from biographies to his training, to his martial arts, his filmography, comic adaptations, and so on and so forth, and a zillion magazines and articles. I obviously haven't read them all, and I haven't got them all by far. I've lost a lot of Bruce Lee books along the way, but there is so many. And his first book, was it called Chinese Kung Fu, that he actually put out himself? I think that was the very first. And obviously the most famous book probably associated with Bruce is The Tao of Jeet Kune Do. This book has taken a little bit of flack over the last few years. People saying, oh, he plagiarised, he just copied other people's work and put it all together. But in my opinion, this came out in 1975. Bruce Lee passed in 73, so was he ever going to publish it, or was he collating all these different information for himself, his own book that he can go back to, just, you remember, absorb what is useful? I mean, there is a book, I haven't got it yet, called Who Wrote the Tao. It's in my wish list. I'm hoping I'm going to get it at Christmas. But I mean, I've gone through this book. As you can see, it's taken a bit of a battering over the years. But it's a great book, and I think this is probably one of the most famous Bruce Lee books. But like I said, I am going to get that Who Wrote the Tao. But this has got a special place in my heart, I must admit. Now, there has been other books. There's loads that are printed out really quickly. There's a load of like the picture books done by Ricky Baker. They're okay, but they're not great. They're pretty much just photographs of Bruce and a little bit of text. And the Nearly Man book, they're okay, but in my opinion, my humble opinion, they're not very good, really. They're nice shelf fillers, that's what I call them. So, without me rambling too much, let me tell you my 3 top favourite Bruce Lee books. The first one is obviously this, Matthew Polly's Bruce Lee Alive. I think this was released in 2018. This, to me, is a wonderful Bruce Lee book. I thoroughly enjoy it. It's a bit of a beast. It is a bit of a beast, and there's not a lot of images in it. There is some in the middle, but there isn't a lot. There's a few pictures in the middle, but not many. It's mostly text, but what an enjoyable read. It goes way back to Lee Hui Chun, Bruce Lee's upbringing. Oh, it goes into everything, you know, everything. Silent Flute, right up to when he dies. And this is one I'm looking forward to diving into again, but I'm in a book at the moment, a Bruce Lee book. And I need to finish that before I can go any further, but I'll get to that in a little while. But if you have got this and haven't read it, why? It comes highly recommended, and like I said, amongst all the Bruce Lee books that there are, and I have a fair few, this is in my top 3. I don't know if it's my favourite, but it's definitely in my top 3. And I do also wonder, in the light of the 2021 Bob Baker letters, I do wonder if Matthew's going to go back and maybe do a revised edition of this. That is a video, the Bob Baker letters, it's a video I will do in the future, but possibly not this year, because it's the 50th anniversary of Bruce Lee's death, you know, 2023. I'm going to show him a little bit of respect, but maybe early next year. But yeah, I do wonder if he's going to do a revised edition of this. But anyway, Matthew Polly, Bruce Lee Alive, amazing. Right, the next one, and I love this book, Bruce Lee, An Authorised Visual History. This has got some amazing pictures, and this is done by Steve Carriage. Steve Carriage actually only lives down the road from me, you know, 20-minute drive from here. Yeah, he's literally only up the road. I may make a visit one day, you never know. But this is a great book. It's got some great images. throughout. It's not silent flute, funny enough. It's got some great pictures throughout, going right the way back. And this is a lovely book. It's forwarded by Shannon Lee as well. Really well put together. Feels nice. The paper quality is superb. And it goes right the way through. Some lovely photographs of Bruce on the set of The Big Boss. Look, with James Chen and Lo Wei. Mary Yee. I can never think of the Big Boss's name off the top of my head. I know it, but I can never ever think of it. That is a fantastic book. Bruce Lee, The Authorized Visual History. But possibly my absolute favourite Bruce Lee book, because I'm a bit of a geek and I like little bits and pieces, is The Treasures of Bruce Lee by Paul Bowman, forwarded by Shannon Lee again. This book is phenomenal. Not only is it a great picture book, quality paper, I mean, look at this. Look, just have a check. You got that? Hardbound outer. This book is filled with knickknacks, posters, ticket stubs. It's just full of treasures, Bruce Lee treasures. And I absolutely love this book. I mean, look. Fist of Fury poster. And then you've got some little cards there. And it's full of them. And it's really, really good quality. It really is something else. And I absolutely adore this book. Now, I was having a look on Amazon before I made this video. And I wanted to see if they were still available. Obviously, you can still get Matthew Polly's book. Not a problem. And you can also get The Authorized Visual History. And you can get this, but it is a whopping £165 now on Amazon if you want to get this. I think my daughter Ashley bought this for me quite a few years ago now. I did actually do an in-depth video on this, going through it. I'll link that up there. But this is probably my all-round favourite Bruce Lee book. Like I said, I haven't got loads and loads and loads, and I certainly haven't got them all. I know there are some people out there, probably got them all, you know, but there is so many to collect. Now, I do want to do a couple of just little honorary mentions. The book that I'm reading at the moment, I'm not even quartered away into it yet. I do need to make more time for reading, is this. Bruce Lee Mandarin Superstar by Steve Carriage. This is a great book. I'm literally not even a quarter of the way through. I've been so bloody busy, but I do need to make time to get through this, because I do know he followed this up with the Fist of Fury book, The Intercepting Fist. And I also heard on the Kung Fu Genius that Steve Carriage is working on a Way of the Dragon book. So I'm way behind, but I need to take time to read this. And if you guys own this book, you Bruce Lee fans and Bruce Lee collectors, don't just put it on your shelf. I mean, I do that. Honestly, I do that. And I've done that with this book, but I have been reading it, and it is so well researched. Some of the images he finds and all are just out of this world. I mean, Bruce Lee must have been, at the time, don't forget, today, everyone snaps away on their phones. But back then, it was done on a camera with film, had to get developed. It amazes me how many photos there are of Bruce. I still discover them every now and again. Someone will post one, I'm like, I don't think I've seen that before. But this book is amazing. And if you own it, read it. It's bloody marvellous. But I do want to get The Intercepting Fist. It is a book I want to get. But I want to make sure I've read this first. And I think the Way of the Dragon book may be coming out next year, 2024. Wow, that just is so trippy to me. So, but yeah, an honorary mention. This book is phenomenal. And I think Steve Carriage books, I think, are well worth collecting. I think him and John Little, obviously John Little's put out some amazing books because he's got access to the Lee estate and all that lot. They are my favourite two, to be honest with you. John Little obviously is done the Warrior's Journey and, well, so many other books. And later on this year, I think it's in November actually, he's putting out a book called Wrath of the Dragon, The Real Fights of Bruce Lee, where he tells stories and anecdotes of people like Ryan O'Neal and people that have actually had scraps with Bruce Lee and tested him. Because today you've got a lot of people, and there's loads of them on the internet, saying things like Chael Sonnen.
Because the myth of Bruce Lee is exactly that. It was a myth. That guy couldn't fight a lick.
What?
But anyway, I digress. Right. And finally, and this is a lovely book that I've gone through so many times. If you want to know about Bruce Lee's ideas on finance, raising kids, love, marriage, you name it, Bruce Lee's Wisdom for Daily Living. You can get it on audiobook pretty cheap. You can buy the book fairly cheap. I can't even remember how much this is. I've gone through this plenty of times. It's a really easy read, and it's one you can just stick in your bag. It's written by Bruce Lee and obviously edited by John Little. So, striking thoughts. But yeah, they're my favourites. Bruce Lee Alive, The Visual History, and The Treasures of Bruce Lee. Now, question for you. What's your favourite Bruce Lee book? Have you got one? Have you got a top 3? If you have, let me know in the comments down below. I mean, me, personally, I'm building up my library again of Bruce books. I mean, the first ones I got back in the early 80s was... one by Alex Ben Block, I think was the first one. I had the Enter the Dragon paperback, the little orange book. And... Linda Lee, was it called The Man Only I Knew or something? I mean, them books are long since gone now. Such a shame, but they were my first I ever had. And then obviously I got the Tao of Jeet Kune Do, and I've had that book laying around for forever and ever. So yeah, let me know what your top 3 favourite Bruce Lee books are. You might be able to steer me down a road. Like I said, I'm going to collect the Steve Carriage books if I can. You know, I think the Jay Sebring book, because I've recently watched a documentary on Jay Sebring called Cutting the Edge or something like that. I can't remember, something like that, but it was fantastic. Linda Lee's in it. They mentioned Bruce a few times in it. Fantastic documentary. I'll link it down below. I can't actually remember. Cutting something, Jay Sebring cutting the myth, cutting the edge. I can't remember now, but it was fantastic, and I wouldn't mind watching that again. But anyway, here he goes, rambling on. Right, so let me know your top 3 books or your favourite book. You might be able to steer me down a way. You know, like I said, there are some books that are not so good. I mean, I showed you that comic book where the guy put out, nicked some of my images, was in it. I don't think I'm going to look at it no more, but it's got a lovely cover. But a lot of people buy these books and stick them on the shelf, and some you can do that with, like that book. Steve Carriage's books are so well researched, and obviously John Little is the man. Anyway, and with that, I'm going to bid you farewell. But before I go, if you like this sort of video, give it a thumbs up, and maybe subscribe to the Rambles. It don't cost you anything, and it really does help me out. Have a fantastic weekend. Much love, and I'll be back with another ramble real soon. Take care, people.